The night was clear and stars filled the Montana sky like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Lauren Miller adjusted her telescope in the backyard of her family's farmhouse. At 17, she already knew more about stars and planets than most adults. She wanted to be an astronomer someday, to discover new worlds, and maybe even find proof of alien life. Her parents were inside watching TV. They always let her stargaze until midnight on summer nights. Lauren checked her watch. 11:30 p.m. She had time for one more constellation before heading inside. She pointed her telescope toward a cluster of stars and peered through the eyepiece. Something strange caught her attention. A light moved in ways no satellite or plane should move. It zigzagged across the sky, stopped completely, then shot straight down toward Earth at impossible speed. "What the heck?" Lauren whispered, adjusting the focus. The light grew larger, brighter. A cold breeze suddenly whipped around her, though the night had been still moments before. Lauren's skin prickled with goosebumps. The air felt charged, like before a lightning storm. She looked up from her telescope and froze. A large shape hovered silently about 50 feet above her backyard. It was flat and circular with strange patterns of light underneath. No helicopter or plane she'd ever seen looked like this. Lauren reached for her phone to take a picture, but her hand never made it to her pocket. A beam of pale blue light shot down from the craft, surrounding her completely. Her feet lifted off the ground, and panic seized her chest. "Mom, Dad, help!" She screamed, but the light seemed to swallow her voice. The ground grew more distant below her. Her telescope, the yard, her home, all shrank as she rose helplessly toward the craft. Then everything went black. Lauren woke up on a cold metal surface. Her head throbbed, and strange clicking sounds filled the air. She blinked several times, trying to clear her blurry vision. The room around her was unlike anything she'd ever seen. The walls curved in odd angles with no clear corners. Everything glowed with a faint bluish light that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. She tried to sit up and discovered she could move, but something invisible pushed back when she tried to stand. Some kind of force field kept her in place. "Hello," she called out, her voice shaking. "Is anyone there?" The clicking sounds grew louder. A panel in the wall slid open, and Lauren's breath caught in her throat. The creature that entered wasn't human. It stood on 4 thin legs, with 2 more limbs that functioned like arms. Its body resembled a large insect with a segmented exoskeleton that shimmered with iridescent colors. The head had multiple eyes that moved independently of each other, and mandibles that clicked and clacked as it observed her. Behind it came 2 more identical creatures. They carried strange devices that beeped and flashed with lights. Lauren pressed herself against the wall, heart pounding wildly. "Please," she whispered, "I want to go home." The aliens made no response that suggested they understood. They moved around her containment area, adjusting instruments and studying readings from their devices. The leader, slightly larger than the others with markings on its shell, approached the edge of Lauren's invisible prison. It made a series of complex clicks and whistles to the others. They responded with similar sounds, a language unlike anything on Earth. One of the smaller aliens pressed something on a handheld device. A holographic image of Earth appeared above it. The image zoomed in on North America, then Montana, then precisely to Lauren's small town and home. They knew exactly where they'd taken her from. The leader made more clicking sounds that somehow seemed satisfied. It reached out with a thin, jointed appendage and pressed against the invisible barrier. The field rippled like water. The alien studied Lauren's reaction carefully. Lauren understood with horrible clarity. She was a specimen, a sample collected for study. They would not be taking her home. In her parents' backyard, her telescope stood abandoned, still pointed at the stars. By morning, her parents would discover her missing. The police would search. They would find nothing but strange energy readings around the telescope that no one could explain. Lauren Miller had vanished without a trace, becoming the first human taken by the Zithraxi Collective. she would not be the last. 6 months passed since Lauren disappeared. Her parents put up posters all over town. Police searched but found nothing. They thought she ran away, but Jack and Diane Miller knew their daughter would never leave without saying goodbye. On a cold winter morning, something strange fell from the sky near the United Nations building in New York. It wasn't a meteor or plane. It was a silver pod about the size of a car, with no markings or windows. Military teams surrounded the area. Scientists in protective suits approached the pod carefully. When they got close, the pod opened by itself. Inside was a small device that projected a hologram. A hologram showed aliens that looked nothing like the ones who took Lauren. These aliens were tall with smooth blue skin and 4 arms. They called themselves the Neridians. They spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth," the message began, "we bring urgent news. You are not alone in this galaxy. A species known as the Zithraxi Collective has been taking beings from many worlds, including yours. They see other life forms as specimens to study. They have taken your people." The message sent shockwaves around the world. Aliens were real. They had been taking humans. And now another alien race was warning Earth. At the Pentagon, military leaders gathered to discuss the message. Admiral Samantha Powell slammed her fist on the table. "How many have they taken?" she demanded. "We've matched missing persons reports with unusual circumstances," an analyst explained. "We think at least 9 people have been abducted over the past 6 months." The Neridian message included star maps showing where the Zithraxi lived. It also contained basic plans for faster-than-light travel. Earth scientists began studying this information immediately. Meanwhile, far from Earth, Lauren adapted to life in captivity. The aliens kept her in a large clear chamber with a bed, bathroom area, and some simple furniture. They fed her strange but edible food and studied everything she did. Lauren was smart. She watched the aliens carefully and began to understand them. She realized they didn't think she was very intelligent. They treated her like a zoo animal. This was useful. They spoke freely around her, not thinking she could understand them. Over months, Lauren pieced together their clicking language. She learned they were called the Zithraxi. The leader who often observed her was named Kestik. He was in charge of studying species from other planets. Lauren wasn't the only captive. Through glass walls, she could see chambers with other creatures. Some looked almost human. Others were completely alien. 3 chambers down, she spotted another human, a man in his 30s who had arrived a month after her. One day, Kestik brought a young Zithraxi to observe Lauren. The science director clicked rapidly, explaining things about the human specimen. "The human female shows surprising adaptation to captivity," he said in his language. "Their species appears primitive, with only basic space travel capabilities. They pose no threat to the collective." Lauren kept her face blank, pretending not to understand. But inside, she burned with determination. The aliens thought humans were weak and simple. This was their mistake. When the Zithraxi left her chamber, Lauren continued the simple exercises they expected to see. But her mind worked on plans. She memorized the layout of the facility. She watched how the doors opened and closed. She studied the patterns of the guards. Most importantly, she learned about a communication system the Zithraxi used. If she could access it, maybe she could send a message home. Back on Earth, humanity prepared in secret. Under Admiral Powell's direction, underground facilities began building ships using the Neridian technology. Dr. Alan Garcia led a team of scientists who improved the alien designs, making them better and faster. Earth was going to fight back. They just needed to know where their people were being held. In her clear prison, Lauren waited for her chance. 3 years passed since the first contact with the Neridians. Earth changed in ways no one could have imagined before. Deep under mountains and oceans, humans built in secret. Dr. Alan Garcia worked day and night in his underground lab. The screen in front of him showed engine test results. He smiled and turned to his team. "We did it," he said. "Our drive is now twice as fast as what the Neridians gave us." Around the world, 50 massive ships took shape in hidden facilities. The largest was the UES Retribution, a warship nearly a mile long. Captain Ethan Brooks walked through its main corridor, inspecting every detail. His family had a military history going back centuries, but no Brooks had ever commanded a starship before. "Captain, Admiral Powell is requesting a progress report," said his second-in-command. "Tell her we'll be ready for launch in 2 weeks," Brooks replied. In space, the Zithraxi continued their work, unaware of Earth's preparations. Their research facility now held 12 humans. Lauren, now 20, had become the unofficial leader of the human captives. The newest arrival was a teenage girl who cried every night. Lauren sat near the barrier separating their chambers and spoke softly to her. "I know it's scary, Kelly. I was 17 when they took me, just like you. But we need to be strong and watch everything. Learn their patterns. The others are doing the same." Kelly wiped her tears. "Do you really think Earth knows we're gone?" Lauren nodded. "I'm sure they do, and I believe they're looking for us." What Lauren didn't tell Kelly was her plan. For months, she had observed the Zithraxi lab technicians using their communication systems. One particular terminal was left unattended during shift changes. The Zithraxi were moving Lauren to a new chamber tomorrow. Her path would take her near that terminal. It might be her only chance. That night, Lauren barely slept. She practiced in her mind exactly what she would do. The message would need to be simple but clear. She didn't know if anyone would receive it, but she had to try. The next morning, 4 Zithraxi guards came for her. They deactivated the barrier and used a hovering platform to transport her. Lauren kept her head down, playing the role of the compliant specimen. As they passed the communication terminal, a minor alarm sounded in another section. 3 guards moved to check it. Just one remained with Lauren. "Specimen appears distressed." The guard clicked to itself, noticing Lauren's rapid breathing. It was now or never. Lauren rolled off the platform and lunged for the terminal. The guard reached for her, but years of secretly exercising in her chamber had made Lauren quick. Her fingers flew across the alien keyboard, inputting the coordinates and message she had memorized. Humans held at these coordinates. 12 captives. Zithraxi main research facility. The guard grabbed her arm just as she hit the final command to send. Backup guards rushed in. They subdued Lauren and injected her with something that made her muscles weak. Specimen showing unusual behavior. Kiztik noted when he arrived. Increased security protocols. They placed Lauren in a new chamber with additional barriers. She pretended to be subdued and compliant, but inside she felt hope for the first time in years. The message was sent. Far away on the edge of the solar system, a secret listening post detected the unusual transmission. Lieutenant Frank Gomes nearly fell out of his chair when he realized what he was seeing. "Sir," he called to his commander, "I've received a transmission from deep space on an alien frequency. It's in English." The commander's eyes widened as he read the message. Within hours, the information reached Admiral Powell at Earth Defense Headquarters. Powell summoned Captain Brooks immediately. She pointed to the star map on her wall with the coordinates marked. "We've found them, Captain. Now it's time for Operation Thunderbolt. Prepare your crew for immediate launch." In shipyards around the world, final preparations began on the 50 warships of humanity's first space fleet. The mission was clear: bring our people home. In her new cell, Lauren looked up at the strange stars through a small window and whispered, "Please find us." The fleet of 50 Earth ships moved silently through space. They used special technology to hide from alien sensors. Captain Brooks stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, looking at the main screen. Stars streaked by as they traveled faster than light. 2 hours until we reach Zithraxi space, his navigator reported. Brooks nodded and turned to Major Ryan Carter, who led the rescue team. Carter checked his weapons for the 10th time. His face was grim. "We're going to get them all back," Brooks said. Carter looked up. "My sister Kelly has been there for 8 months. I don't know what they've done to her." Lauren's message said all 12 captives are alive. Brooks reminded him. "We stick to the plan. Get in, get our people, get out." In the research facility, the Zithraxi continued their daily routine. After Lauren's attempt to use their communication system, they watched her more closely. But they still didn't believe humans were very intelligent. Kistik was studying data in the main control room when alarms suddenly blared. The screen showed multiple objects dropping out of faster-than-light travel near their planet. "Impossible," he clicked in his language. "No primitive species could reach our space." More alarms sounded as the sensors identified the objects. Ships, 50 of them, and they were heading straight for the research facility. "Defensive systems online," a Zithraxi controller reported. "Unknown vessels approaching. They appear to be warships." Kistik's multiple eyes widened. "From where?" The answer came as the first human ships opened fire. The orbital defenses around Zithraxi Prime exploded in bright flashes of light. Lauren felt the facility shake. The lights flickered. She looked up, heart pounding. Something was happening. The other human captives felt it too. They moved to the edges of their chambers, watching the panicked Zithraxi rushing through the corridors. On the Retribution, Brooks received the report. "Their orbital defenses are down, Captain. Landing zone is clear. Launch the rescue team," Brooks ordered. 5 small, fast ships detached from the main fleet and raced toward the surface. Major Carter sat in the lead ship with 20 soldiers. They wore advanced armor and carried powerful weapons. "Remember," Carter told his team, "our first priority is rescuing the captives. Everything else is secondary." Their ships landed near the research facility. The doors opened, and the soldiers moved out. They encountered the first Zithraxi guards at the main entrance. The aliens fired strange energy weapons, but they bounced off the human armor. Carter's team pushed forward, using non-lethal weapons where possible. They didn't want to risk harming the captives. Inside her chamber, Lauren heard the sounds of fighting coming closer. The barrier around her chamber flickered and disappeared as the facility's power systems failed. She stepped out, looking both ways down the corridor. Other captives emerged from their chambers too. "Follow me," Lauren called to them. "I know the layout of this place." She led the group of humans through the corridors, avoiding the main fighting. She knew they needed to reach the central hub. Major Carter and his team fought their way to the detention area, only to find it empty. "The captives are gone," he reported over his radio. "What?" Brooks responded from orbit. "Are we too late?" Just then, Carter's radio picked up a human voice from elsewhere in the facility. "This is Lauren Miller. If any human forces can hear me, we've escaped our cells. 12 of us, all alive. We're heading for the central hub." Carter's heart jumped. "Lauren, this is Major Ryan Carter. I'm looking for Kelly Carter. Is she with you?" "Yes," Lauren replied. "Your sister is safe. Meet us at the central hub." Carter and his team raced through the facility. They'd reached the central hub just as Lauren's group arrived from another direction. For a moment, everyone froze. After years of believing they were alone in the universe, the captives were seeing other humans again. Kelly broke from the group and ran to her brother. They embraced as tears flowed freely. Kistik watched from a hidden alcove, his mandibles clicking in confusion. How had the primitive humans done this? How had they crossed space and defeated Zithraxi defenses? Lauren spotted him. Their eyes met across the room. She didn't look afraid anymore. For the first time, Kistik felt something new. Fear of a species he had underestimated. The human fleet left Zithraxi space quickly after the rescue. All 12 captives were safely aboard the UES Retribution. Medical teams checked them while Captain Brooks ordered the fleet to return to Earth. In the ship's meeting room, Lauren sat with Admiral Powell, who had joined the mission at the last minute. Lauren looked different now. Her eyes were older than her 20 years. She spoke with confidence as she explained what she had learned. The Zithraxi have 27 worlds, she said, pointing to a star map. They've been taking species from across the galaxy for thousands of years. Some civilizations tried to fight back. The Zithraxi destroyed them completely. Admiral Powell's face darkened. You're saying they might come after Earth next? Lauren nodded. They won't accept this defeat. The Zithraxi believe they are superior to all other life forms. They see us as animals to be studied, not equals. In another room, Kelly Carter sat with her brother Ryan. She held a cup of real Earth coffee, something she had missed terribly. What will happen now? She asked. Ryan sighed. I don't know, but we won't let them take anyone else. I promise you that. On Zithraxi Prime, the High Command gathered in an emergency meeting. The chamber was filled with the angry clicking of mandibles. Kiztik stood before the highest commander, explaining what had happened. The humans use technology that should be impossible for their level of development, he said. They appeared without warning and disabled our defenses before we could respond. The highest commander rose on his 6 legs. He was older and larger than the others, with battle scars on his exoskeleton. This insult cannot stand, he declared. No primitive species attacks the collective and escapes punishment. Prepare the war fleet. We will travel to this Earth and show them the price of defiance. The Zithraxi began gathering their forces. Ships from all 27 worlds formed a massive fleet. They believed this would be a simple punishment mission. The humans had surprised them once, but the full might of the collective would crush any resistance. Back on Earth, the returned captives shared everything they knew about the Zithraxi. Lauren worked directly with military leaders, explaining Zithraxi technology, biology, and thinking. Their ships are strong, but they have weaknesses, she explained in the Pentagon War Room. Their sensor systems can't detect anything during faster-than-light jumps. They believe it's physically impossible to track ships that way. Dr. Garcia nodded excitedly. But our new drive system can do exactly that. We can jump in and out of light speed in seconds, appearing and disappearing from their sensors. Admiral Powell turned to the president. We need to prepare for their response. The Zithraxi won't forgive what we did. The president looked at the faces around the table. How much time do we have? Based on their fastest ships, 3 weeks, Lauren answered. But they'll expect us to be defenseless. They don't know how much we've learned. Around Earth, the defense fleet grew larger. More ships launched from secret facilities. Orbital defense platforms moved into position. Earth was preparing for war. 17 days later, sensors at the edge of the solar system detected a massive energy signature. The Zithraxi punishment fleet had arrived. Over 200 ships led by a massive command vessel. On the bridge of his flagship, the highest commander surveyed the human solar system on his screens. Send the message, he ordered. Tell these primitives to surrender those who attacked us and prepare to become a protected study world of the collective. If they refuse, we will destroy their military capability and take what we want. The message reached Earth. In the command center, Admiral Powell and the president listened to the translated demands. They expect us to just give up, the president said quietly. Powell shook her head. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. Lauren stepped forward. The Zithraxi only respect strength. Anything else they see is weakness. The president nodded slowly and gave the order. Launch the fleet. Show them humanity will not surrender. Near the orbit of Neptune, the Earth Defense Fleet appeared, 100 ships in perfect formation. The Zithraxi were about to learn that humans protect their own, no matter the cost. The Battle of Neptune lasted just 6 hours. When it ended, the mighty Zithraxi punishment fleet was in ruins. The Earth ships moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen, jumping in and out of faster-than-light speed during battle, something the Zithraxi thought was impossible. Human weapons targeted the exact weak points Lauren had identified. Zithraxi shields failed. Their engines exploded. Ship after ship went dark or burst into flames. The highest commander barely escaped in a small craft with a few surviving ships. As they fled back toward Zithraxi space, he could not believe what had happened. For the first time in 1,000 years, the collective had lost a battle. On the UES Retribution, Captain Brooks watched the Zithraxi retreat on his screen. He turned to Admiral Powell. "Should we pursue?" he asked. Powell shook her head. "Not yet. Let them run home with news of their defeat." Lauren stood nearby, her face showing no joy at the victory. "They'll be back," she said quietly. "And next time, they'll bring everything they have." She was right. On Zithraxi Prime, news of the defeat spread quickly. The High Command gathered all their military leaders. The chamber buzzed with angry clicking sounds as the highest commander spoke. "The humans are no longer classified as primitive," he announced. "They are now designated as an extreme threat to the collective. All military resources from all 27 worlds will be mobilized for war." The Zithraxi began gathering the largest fleet in their history. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier would be used against Earth. They would not be humiliated again. Back on Earth, humanity knew they had won the battle but not the war. Admiral Powell met with the top military and scientific minds in a secure underground base. "The Zithraxi have resources we can't match," she explained. "They have 27 worlds. We have one. We can't win a long war." Lauren, now wearing an Earth Defense Force uniform with a special advisor rank, stepped forward. "Then we don't fight a long war," she said. "We hit them first, hit them hard, before they can fully mobilize." Dr. Garcia nodded in agreement. "Our technology is now better than theirs, but they still don't know exactly what we can do." Admiral Powell looked around the room. "What are you suggesting?" "Operation Firestorm," Lauren replied. "Lightning strikes against their key military bases across multiple worlds. We use our speed advantage and surprise them again." The plan was bold and dangerous. Small, fast human battle groups would jump into Zithraxi space, destroy military targets, and jump out before the aliens could respond. Captain Brooks and the Retribution would lead the main strike force. 2 weeks later, the attack began. Human ships appeared above 6 Zithraxi worlds at the same time. They targeted shipyards, weapon factories, and military bases. The Zithraxi were caught completely unprepared. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Brooks watched as his ships destroyed a massive shipyard. "All targets hit," his weapons officer reported, ready to jump out. But before they could leave, a message came from another human strike team. They had found something on a Zithraxi data hub during their attack. Something terrifying. "Captain," the message said, "we've discovered plans for biological weapons specifically designed to target Earth's ecosystem. They plan to wipe out all life on our planet." Brooks immediately sent the information to Earth. In the command center, Admiral Powell and the President reviewed the evidence with growing horror. "They don't just want to defeat us," the President said. "They want to exterminate us completely." Lauren closed her eyes briefly. She had lived among the Zithraxi. She understood their thinking. For them, any species that challenges their dominance can't be allowed to exist, she explained. "They won't stop. They'll keep coming until Earth is dead." The room fell silent as everyone realized what this meant. Humanity had hoped for a limited conflict that would force the Zithraxi to leave them alone. Now they faced extinction if they lost. Admiral Powell finally broke the silence. "If it's us or them, then we have to make sure it's them." The President nodded slowly and gave the order that would change the galaxy forever. "Prepare Operation Hellfire." Operation Hellfire was the hardest decision in human history. For 3 days, world leaders debated what to do. If they did nothing, Earth would die. If they attacked first with everything they had, billions of alien lives would end. In the end, survival won. Humanity would not go quietly into extinction. The Earth fleet gathered near Jupiter, hidden from Zithraxi scouts. 150 ships, the largest force humans had ever assembled in space. At their center was the UES Retribution, now equipped with a terrible new weapon, the stellar destabilizer. Dr. Garcia had created it based on the advanced physics they had learned. The device could trigger massive solar flares that would scorch a planet's surface. Not enough to destroy a world completely, but enough to cripple it. On the bridge, Captain Brooks looked at the faces of his crew. They knew what they were about to do. "This isn't revenge," he told them. "This is survival. Remember that." Lauren Miller stood at his side, now officially a strategic advisor to the fleet. She had insisted on joining the mission to Zithraxi Prime. Only she truly understood their enemy. "The Zithraxi have done this to other species," she said. "Worlds that challenged them were burnt to ash. If we don't stop them now, Earth will be next." The fleet jumped to the light speed. Their target, the 7 core worlds of the Zithraxi Collective, including Zithraxi Prime. Their mission, to strike so hard that the aliens could never threaten Earth again. They arrived in perfect formation above the Zithraxi home system. The aliens had powerful defenses, but they weren't ready for the full might of Earth's fleet. Human ships cut through their lines like knives through paper. Ground teams landed on Zithraxi Prime with a single target, the high command bunker deep beneath the surface. Major Carter led the mission. "Remember," he told his soldiers, "we need to reach the command center intact. Lauren needs to talk to them." They fought their way down through layers of defenses. Zithraxi soldiers fought bravely, but human determination was stronger. Within hours, they reached the central chamber where the highest commander and his advisors were gathered. The alien leaders clicked their mandibles in anger and fear as the humans entered. Among them was Science Director Kistik, who recognized Lauren immediately. "You," he clicked in his language, "the specimen who escaped." Lauren stepped forward, speaking the Zithraxi language perfectly. "I am no specimen," she replied. "I am Lauren Miller, representing the human race, and I bring you one chance to save your people." She laid out humanity's terms: immediate surrender of all Zithraxi forces, the release of all captive species from across the galaxy, and a binding treaty never to threaten Earth again. The highest commander's eyes flashed with anger. "The collective does not surrender to lesser beings." "Then the collective will burn," Lauren said simply. "Look outside. Your fleets are destroyed. Your defenses are broken. And above your world, our ships have deployed stellar destabilizers around your sun." On screens around the chamber, the Zithraxi could see the truth of her words. Earth ships had positioned the devices around their star. "You still don't understand what you've done," Lauren continued. "You took humans from our world. You treated us like animals. You planned to kill our entire species. But humans protect their own, no matter the cost." She offered a small communication device. "These are our terms. You have 30 minutes to agree, or we activate the destabilizers. Not just here, but at all 7 of your core worlds simultaneously." The highest commander's mandibles clicked furiously. "You would destroy 7 worlds. Billions of lives. No species would dare." Lauren's eyes were hard as she remembered her years in captivity. "We dare. 30 minutes." The human team withdrew to a safe distance, leaving the alien leaders to decide. In orbit, Earth ships held position, weapons ready. The devices around the star waited for the command to fire. For 29 minutes, there was silence. Then, with seconds remaining, the communication device Lauren had left activated. "We agree to your terms," came the clicking voice of the highest commander. But it was a lie. As soon as the words were spoken, hidden Zithraxi weapons across the planet activated, targeting the human ships in orbit. Captain Brooks saw the energy readings spike on his screens. "They're attacking. All ships, execute final protocol." From orbit, Lauren watched as the stellar destabilizers activated across 7 star systems. The suns began to flare with incredible energy. The Zithraxi had made their choice. Now they would face the consequences. 5 years passed since the day the suns burned. The 7 core worlds of the Zithraxi Collective were forever changed. Not completely destroyed, but scorched and broken. Their mighty cities lay in ruins. Their military power was gone. The remaining 20 Zithraxi worlds surrendered immediately after seeing what happened to their core systems. They had no choice. Earth ships appeared above each planet, stellar destabilizers ready. The message was simple: surrender or burn. Lauren Miller stood by a large window on the observation deck of the UES Reconciliation. This ship was different from the warships she had been on before. It was built for peace, not war. Its mission was diplomacy, not destruction. She looked different now, too. At 25, she wore the formal uniform of Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Concord. The small pin on her collar showed Earth's new place in the galaxy, a full member of the interstellar community. "Ambassador Miller, we're approaching the summit station," a young officer informed her. "We'll dock in 20 minutes. Lauren nodded. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Is the delegation ready?" "Yes, ma'am. Admiral Powell and General Carter are waiting in the conference room." Lauren smiled slightly at the mention of Ryan Carter. After the war, he had been promoted to general and now led Earth's defense fleet. His sister Kelly had chosen a different path, leading humanitarian missions to help species harmed by the Zithraxi. Lauren walked through the ship to the conference room. Admiral Powell, now with gray in her hair, stood looking at star charts with General Carter. "Our first full summit," Powell said as Lauren entered. 30 species will be there, including the Neridians. "And the Zithraxi," Lauren added quietly. After the war, the defeated Zithraxi had undergone massive changes. Their military leadership was gone. Their new government had released all captured species and closed their research facilities. They were now under supervision of the Galactic Concord, an alliance of spacefaring civilizations. "Are you ready to face them again?" Carter asked Lauren. She took a deep breath. "Yes. It's been 5 years. We need to move forward." The Reconciliation docked at the massive space station. Representatives from 30 different species had gathered for the first full meeting of the Galactic Concord. Some looked almost human. Others were completely alien. Beings of crystal, gas, or shapes humans had no words for. Earth's delegation entered the Grand Chamber. All eyes turned to them. Humans were the newest members of the interstellar community, but their reputation had spread quickly. They were known as both fierce warriors and liberators. Lauren took her seat at the large circular table. Across from her sat the new Zithraxi representative. He was younger than Kizdik had been, with softer markings on his shell. When his eyes met Lauren's, he lowered his head slightly, a sign of respect, not dominance. The summit began with speeches from the oldest civilizations. They spoke of peace, cooperation, and healing after the war. When it was Earth's turn, Lauren stepped to the central platform. "5 years ago, I was a prisoner," she began, "a specimen in a cage. I learned then that the universe can be a dangerous place, but I also learned that it is filled with wonders and possibilities." She looked around at the assembled representatives. "Humans came to the stars through fire and pain. We fought to protect our own, but now we come in peace, ready to join this community as equals." The Zithraxi representative spoke next. "The collective has changed. We have learned painful lessons about respect for other life forms. We ask not for forgiveness, but for a chance to build a better future." When the formal speeches ended, Lauren stepped away from the Earth delegation. She walked across the chamber to where the Zithraxi representative stood. "My name is Lauren Miller," she said, extending her hand in the human gesture of greeting. The Zithraxi hesitated, then extended his front appendage to touch her hand. "I am Tisrel," he replied. "I was once a student of Kizdik before the burning. Now I hope to be a teacher of peace." Lauren nodded. "Then we have something in common." Across the chamber, Admiral Powell watched the exchange with mixed emotions. Humanity had survived. They had won their place among the stars. But the cost had been terrible. As the summit continued, ships from 30 worlds orbited the station peacefully. Among them, the Earth vessels stood ready. a reminder that humans would always protect their own, but also that they were ready to build something new from the ashes of war.